welcome to the Saturday night's main event review. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hanford and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on Saturday night at Saturday night's main event. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup that we complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hanford and Sidgwick to review Saturday night's main events.
I thought it was a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. I had really high expectations that weren't met in terms of the, the size of it all. I felt like it'd be a bit more of an eventful night. Loads of stuff was really fun. Like, there was a ton of stuff they nailed in terms of the aesthetics, which were probably things I'm going to be most positive about in talking about the show, truthfully. It was one thing to lack a really, really great match from the 5 that were on offer. It was quite another to elect not to just get rid of one of them, in hindsight this is, and just have a big segment, have a big angle, have something like that, whether that be in front of the sparkly curtain, which ultimately we only saw that backstage thing with like Punk and Coco Beware and all that, or out in the ring, just a huge angle, which we got, but after the fact. I think 4 in an angle or 3 in a big talking segment or something like that might have made this feel a bit more of the event that I had in my head ultimately than what played out. Far from a bad show, just very like mid-tier, if we're counting it like sort of with the PLEs of this year, which it felt more like than a TV special. Like mid-tier compared to anywhere near the top for me personally.
Yeah, I expected a lot more from this. I guess my big takeaway was the Saturday night's main event was just very rushed feeling in ways that were good and quite exciting and also bad and misjudged. Just there was a lot of energy to it, a lot of zip. But WWE these days, you go in thinking of these grand scale moments and this sort of like, you could either be cynical or whatever about the pacing. It's either elegant to you or it's pretty deliberate and methodical and boring. Either way, I don't think that WWE big show feel was, I just didn't feel it on this show at all. I'm going to be nice about the main event, but on the whole, this was, I don't think it was received as a disaster by any stretch. I think a lot of people were a little bit let down by it, and I can absolutely see where they were coming from.
I suppose the good thing is they've got plenty of times to recover this because they're doing it like 20 next year or something mad.
They should have set the tone.
I agree,
They should have set the tone better.
Yeah, I think as a starting point for it, the idea was now they've like, maybe they haven't, maybe like I saw largely very, very positive response to this, and I was like looking on the timeline on the Sunday, especially in the instant reaction, because I watched it live and then you go to sleep and then you see people that are catching up in droves and stuff, and the reaction seemed way more positive than what I thought I'd experienced watching it. So maybe it worked for more people and it didn't, but I'm with Sidge, like ultimately you're going to have however many more you've got of these, and the last time around, so like the 06 to 08 run, pretty much from the off, you're like,
well, it's WWE in 2006.
They've
Bit of a giveaway.
Yeah, they've knackered it straight away. All of these are going to like just dip and dip and dip and dip and then disappear. I don't think this is going to happen. I think like WWE at the moment, like I don't know what the rating's going to be like for any of this, but I just have a sense that like NBC or Peacock or whatever will be relatively happy with how this has turned out. And yet, like I would have done things quite differently in order to set the tone and set the standard for the ones to come. Like the second and the third and the fourth are harder to promote because you've not got the benefit of being the first. You've not got the curiosity views that you might get of exactly how they'll use nostalgia, of which, like I say, elements were tremendous here. But I think it's more of an uphill battle off the back of this one.
I had good fun watching this, but I will say I was watching it on Sunday, so the commercial in progress thing I could just skip through. I get the feeling, especially for British viewers, sat there at 2 a.m. in the morning going, right, 5 minutes just staring at a screen.
That's our friends over there. They're used to the ads. I did like the little TV at the start. There's the guy on the buttons using his uppers and downers because they didn't have remotes back then, you know, so keep going until you find the wrestling. That's how it works over there.
I watched the opening bit.
No wrestling. Wrestling.
Yeah, great.
Whereas now, if it's not on the first one, I guess no wrestling. Yeah, I immediately thought of both of you with all the nostalgia being pumped into your face.
I mean, I just want to see a guardrail.
Oh my God.
I want to see a guardrail in my professional wrestling.
Red, white, and blue ropes.
Right, the aisle was stunning. The aisle, I know it sounds like a dumb sentence. The aisle was stunning. Every wrestler could flesh out a bit of their character simply by how they walked down that aisle. As was the style at the time. Like you had your sort of someone like a Gunther who was somewhere in between John Cena One Night Stand 2006 and Gunther 2024, and how he just responded, "Get the off my coat," and like trying to get his like hands away from people and that. Or if you're a beloved babyface, you're just in it. Cody Rhodes was in it, and it looked so cool. And the way they made the because it was a screen, everything's a screen now, but the way that when the show first started, it was the red, white, and blue version of the neon LED tunnel. I was like, well, that's two things I love at the same time. The Oakland podium, the former Vince and Jesse hosting spot. Massive. Joe Tessitore is one of the best WWE signs of the year.
But brilliant voice to start this show, wasn't it?
He feels legitimate. I sense he is more to American fans than he is to us anyway, but he's got the voice, he's got the poise. He feels like currently, it doesn't so much on Raw, but here was the first time I was like, I think you're above all this currently, and I like that because it means that you drag some of this up to an extra sort of prestigious standard. I loved him.
Little Mean Gene nod with the bow tie as well.
Well, they couldn't name somebody else who was actually nodding to. It was never Jesse and Mean Gene on that stand on Saturday Night's Main Event, was it?
No, it was not.
What do you make of Jesse being on there? I did see Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah. Same jacket that he wore to the premiere of Predator.
It's a good jacket. Shane Michael Cole and Pat McAfee weren't there for his gag about it later on.
Like Michael Cole, this is inexcusable. If Pat McAfee doesn't know what he's talking about, then he shouldn't talk. Better yet, don't be there.
Jesse Ventura, and I think this is, again, one of the key areas where I felt like I was disagreeing with a lot of consensus on X, at least. I know there's various different platforms now. Jesse Ventura had the exact night I thought Jesse Ventura would have. A couple of times where he felt like he was kind of remembering names off a script, Kevin Owen and the like.
Kevin Owen, what a wrestler.
Big night for Kevin Owen.
The things he's been told.
I thought they should have given Kevin Owen the belt, really.
The things he's been
like when
set
I
out
this
there.
week on the podcast. Oh, who's Kevin Owen?
I know who Kevin Owens is, Jesse. Who's Kevin Owen?
But where he was great, because I don't want to be totally critical of a guy that, like, at Jesse Ventura's age, still going out there and just radiating charisma, is magic, ultimately. Where he was great was he was the perfect commentator to tell Kevin Owens' story specifically in the main event. If there's ever one guy that can just completely go over the top in defending a heel, it was Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
And that's what Kevin Owens' character needs.
Goody two-shoes road.
Yeah. I didn't like his father.
I loved it when he was just like, win the match. They're like, Michael was like, I think Cody's feeding off the crowd there, Jesse. Screw feeding off the crowd, win the goddamn match.
I will say he had a little bit of that AEW Jim Ross about him when Kevin Owens, what did he do to, what did Kevin Owens do to Cody Rhodes off the top rope? Like fisherman bust off the top rope. He couldn't believe that wasn't the finish.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, it didn't beat him. It should have. He did say he had that. He had a little bit of that old man head on.
I love with it being Cody and everything about Cody's singles run forever has been about, he's Dusty's son. And then Jesse Ventura thinking he can just say this sort of stuff. It's just like to Joe Tessitore. I don't even know if he's Dusty's kid. Just like that. Kind of the whole business, Jesse.
Yeah, I also like.
Move on.
Oh yeah, he's looking at him. He's great. Dusty's fat. He was fat though, wasn't he? And Joe's like, let's get to the action, shall we, Jesse?
Memories of wrestling Dusty, Jerry. I never wrestled him.
Yeah.
All right. Move on.
But the show, let's get to it. By the way,
He was fun.
He was good.
It was fun.
You can use him.
I knew he was going to have a few of those moments.
Small doses, guy.
73 or something. Yeah.
Keep him for the exact role you've had him in here, like odd matches.
Is the Undertaker still in it?
Needed more carrying cross. That's what we agree, right?
Everything needs more carrying cross, baby. I'm not even taking the piss here. Guy rules.
But thank you to everyone, by the way, who's
Just
joining
think
us.
about how they never, like outside of SummerSlam 99, that one card, they never overlapped. The Body and the Dead Man. Never. Just picturing him having to interview him and Undertaker's like, kneel down or something.
Kneel down or something.
You're bigger than me.
Maybe he thought he had the snakeskin jacket he made in the desert or something.
I made a coat out of it. Nice dry body, but I don't sleep.
Thank you to everyone joining us live on YouTube, by the way. We'll get to your questions in due course.
A bunch of lovely people.
The show opened in the best possible way after Joe and Jesse, though, with the arrival of Pat McAfee.
Oh my God.
Dinosaur, mate. Dinosaur, mate. Dinosaur, mate. Dinosaur, mate. Yeah. No.
I loved him.
I hate him. Pat McAfee.
I think he's all right. I think the porridge is just right. That's like that.
Pat McAfee, like this. I don't know what's going on, but it's fun. No. Do your research. Keep up with the product. You take me out of it. I don't like your energy. You know what Pat McAfee is? One of the dudes at Woodstock 99 who ruined the vibe. that is the energy I get from him. I just don't like him at all.
Yeah, he's not he's not a good commentator.
He's absolutely hopeless.
But
Better wrestler.
Yes.
Probably. I quite like his...
He's an exponentially better wrestler than he is commentator.
I don't mind his chemistry with Michael Cole.
Yeah,
I hate
I think they're an okay kind of soundtrack to this WWE. It felt like, I'll say this as well, the opening where you had like the opening video package, all the sort of nostalgia, then the reveal of the building, then Jesse and Joe Tessitore, then Pat McAfee. I was like, this is massive. This feels absolutely massive. There was an element where, and this never really happens anymore, because the people that have want wrestling can find wrestling, and I guess that might change on Netflix, but probably not realistically. But the fact that it was on NBC as well as YouTube, there was that little bit of an element where it's a bit like, try and actually find some. Wait a minute, maybe I'll just keep the cock on and see what's on next. By God, it's WWE. Whatever the lead was.
Years.
Yeah. It was funny the way that Michael Cole, it's very WWE to sort of over-explain my brother Jey Uso or whatever. But obviously factoring in this, the amount of times he'd sort of recap an entire feud during the match, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm thinking it's a pay-per-view and you've paid.
Primer for Netflix.
It's a new audience.
Yeah.
On Netflix is going to be unbearable. Thank you. I'm not going to look forward to that anymore. Pat McAfee blows, honestly. There's a bit where, because he's doing his mad exposition dumps, Michael Cole, because, in fairness, there's a brand new audience and they're hammering it at home. Liv Morgan, she hasn't been defeated, at least not by pinfall or submission, since March. Pat McAfee, literally 10 seconds later, she's been the champion since March. No, she has been the champion since May.
Right.
You've been told the fact 10 seconds ago, Pat. Pay attention. Not merely to the storylines on the program that you infrequently provide commentary on. Only pay attention to what happened 10 seconds ago in your own life.
I loved how gassed he was when he came out. Let's go. And Cole's like, are you looking forward to this show? You're a bit blown up there. He's like, thanks so much, pal, to that bloke who holds his chair so he doesn't fall over.
Stop laughing at him, man.
The ideal first match, I thought, though, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
Yeah,
it's ruled.
Sami Zayn, the ideal. This guy's a babyface. He's the purest babyface you're probably going to see. A valiant fight put up by him.
Calls that the haluva kick. This Netflix on Raw is going to stink. I'm so sad. It's just dawned on me how bad this is going to be.
Yeah, loads of this.
Yeah, I love it. And Sami Zayn had moments where he looked like he might have had the match won, fighting for Blue Thunder Bombs and what have you. But Drew McIntyre, at the last second, rolls out, rolls back in, and hits a Claymore out of nowhere and basically says, you're the first of many to Sami Zayn.
In many respects, this was my dream 2024 WWE match. It didn't outstay its welcome, not by a second. It was unapologetically Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for warts and all of the stuff that what Drew does to slow it down for heat, what Sami Zayn does in this kind of timeless babyface quality that he's got. They're two of the best WWE's got, I guess, so it's a good example of it as well. But this is what I want 10 times out of 10 in a WWE match, genuinely. The finish was clean and quick without being cheap.
Yeah.
And that was important throughout the show. Really, really strong presentation throughout the night that aided the main event. in how they laid out the rest of this card. Like genuinely thoughtful about what was to register the most once you got to the main event, which was like absolutely the main event. Not bold, because I think WWE just does this now, but bold in a sense that Sami Zayn has just won the main event of your last PLE, and Drew McIntyre has been gone for ages and gets this win, and is very much was presenting Sami Zayn here as a stepping stone on his like larger quest. Sami Zayn's a character that can recover from this the next day. That's one of the many millions of benefits that Sami Zayn and a Kevin Owens have in roles that they're in currently. But nonetheless, they still did it. Like, you could have copped out. We talked about like it just being an extended beatdown or an angle, which again I do think the show needed. And had this gone in the middle, I wouldn't have been opposed to the match.
That's a perfect opener. This
because Drew like bloodies him up or something. But as it was, this opener was absolutely spot on. One of the highlights of the night.
This is the in-ring highlight of the night in terms of expectations. Met what the match needed to be. Just an honest-to-goodness sprint. That was just so urgent and breathless and captivating and just so lean. Not a wasted second. Just a total shootout. I really loved this match. I'd love to see so much more. When I said in the intro, it was rushed in ways that were good and bad. This is rushed, but it was like a rush. It was like there was the powerbomb off the top rope counter. Like, he'd launched Drew, did Sami, the second that his own feet touched. There was none of this. I mean, if this was on Raw, they would have tacked 5 minutes more onto it, and it would have just been 5 minutes of mid.
Like, he worked the Blue Thunder Bomb and got it, rather than working it and then them kind of like losing the thread and then getting it 5 minutes later. You're like, I'd kind of lost interest in that battle to get that Blue Thunder.
I wish wrestling would, because we're in the content farm era. We have been for years and years and years. There's always loads of it. There's always far too much of it. I wish wrestling would treat matches like this, because it was 2 hours, a lot to cram in. They had too much ultimately to cram in. They didn't have to cram it in, but my God, they felt like they had to. Treat certain wrestling matches like you don't have all the time in the world. Urgent, breathless. I thought this was great. Genuinely, what an opener.
But a little bit of me thought they were going to open with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens if they were going to follow the style of a Saturday night's main event, and I couldn't have done that ultimately with how it played out. Maybe it could have, I don't know. But there was, considering that all of this was retro tinged, like, I think, Sid, you'll know the kind of matches I'm talking about. This had way more of a Coliseum video quality about it. Coliseum video matches that were just compilations were excellent at getting both characters over, seeing their moveset in snapshot almost. You get a bit of everything.
Sorry, your little hero won't be happy with that, will he?
I've never taken a bump in my goddamn life, so I'm allowed to say it. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you do.
The idea that if you've never seen this wrestler and you buy this tape or somebody gets you this tape, it's like, well, I use Koko B. Ware as a perfect example. Like, Koko B. Ware's got this in his arsenal, and this is an arsenal, and this is how he finishes a guy, but here are his weaknesses if he's fighting somebody bigger than him or whatever. That was this. There was just total...
They hooked kids for years, for life, with matches like this.
I watched this, and it's funny, despite the fact Sami Zayn lost, I watched that and went, give him a world title in 2025.
And they might.
Never won a belt, There's enough to go around.
Speaking of world titles, though, next up it was Liv Morgan defending the Women's World Championship against Io Sky and retaining clean, if getting a bit bloodied up in the process. Thankfully, reports today she hasn't got a broken nose after that. That knee that Io hit. It was just apparently the piercing in her nose or something, busting her open.
I mean, it could have been a broken nose because it looked rough as out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This was, as you would have expected with it being Io Sky, this is why there are great wrestlers and simply okay or bad ones.
Fab,
Like Liv Morgan's best title defense today by miles, and there still wasn't loads to it. But I'll give Liv Morgan some credit because I think she comes in for a lot of criticism from us, because often there's plenty to criticise.
Good bumping here, I thought.
Good bumping. This was like your kind of contemporary Honky Tonk Man title defense. You couldn't do Honky Tonk Man anymore. It would be deemed unacceptable to have a champion that rubbish. I loved what the Honky Tonk Man was, but absolutely have to watch him in his context and not anything else. Liv Morgan finds ways to win through gradually becoming more experienced at being a champion. She's the type of champion that's had to grow into being a champion. And that's the story they've always told with her. And a little bit of it is to work around the fact that she's not the best in ring by miles, to be truthful, in this division. But then when she gets in there with somebody that looks loads more credible and loads more dangerous and finds a way and gets it done, as she did here, That's what gets these. That's not what gets these characters over anymore, but it's what keeps these characters over. It keeps Liv Morgan from just being an all right promo or a good soap opera storyline. Like I'm guiltier than most of saying, well, yeah, the match matters, but I don't think as much as it used to anymore. But like this is evidence that, yeah, I'm wrong, and it still does. You still need something, or you need the right wrestlers to elevate. You know, if it's not an Io Sky, maybe it's a Bianca Belair. We'll see if it's going to be a Rhea Ripley, just to like sort of make the reign mean a little bit more in people's memories about how she got on when she actually had the belt. And to that point, I really, really liked the standoff with Rhea Ripley after the match. We talked about this a bit on the Raw preview. It's a bit of character development, a bit of a turning point for Liv and Dom, that they were able to sell fear without physically backing down. This match has to happen. Liv Morgan knew that even if she was to win, it was going to be in the future because of what happened at War Games. But she's sort of had Rhea Ripley's number in the past, so should have a bit more confidence than the days in the summer when she was like running into the stands. It sort of made what is otherwise quite old and in danger of growing stale feel just new enough to do it one more time. Genuinely, that's like how I felt. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll have one more go at that.
The Raw Netflix debut?
Seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, this match again, there was no real time for it to go that awry. Yes, there was that Io Sky botch, but it's fine. I thought Liv Morgan
styled it out, didn't she?
Styled it out to absolute perfection, to the point where I bought the resulting near fall thinking they'd done something like the Great Sasuke Liger thing. So that was such great quick thinking. It's one of those rare instances where a botch genuinely elevated the match. So good on Liv Morgan. And you could tell she's just wrestling with a great deal of confidence. I'm higher on the match than Hamlet was. It just bang, 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 bang. I mean, you can't do this all the time, but a just breezy, dynamic, just didn't have time to suck. It didn't have time to do that relentless WWE pausing or that just nothingness that infests a regular ass WWE TV match. I think there was a realization from like minute 5, 6, Christ, we've got a lot to get through here. We might have given ourselves too much and, you know, rushed. For me, I liked it.
She spiked her on her head with that finish as well, didn't she?
Yeah.
She likes taking that bump.
Yeah. Oh, Io Sky's fine. Is there any way we can just put Io Sky in the Women's IC title tournament, please?
Well, yeah, it needs it. And this is the thing, isn't it? Like that roster.
You can put her in the North Americans if you want.
It doesn't have enough, and it's a problem. It doesn't have enough Ios, Biancas, wrestlers like that. Like, can absolutely be champions, top stars, believable challengers, or even just like utility wrestlers. There's probably not enough on this roster at the moment to do what they're trying to do with multiple divisions and belts and the like.
Right, let's get to the World Heavyweight Championship triple threat match. It was Gunther versus Finn Balor versus Damian Priest.
I think this was my favourite thing on the show over the opener by a whisker. I just really enjoyed, like, I'm glad it changed to the triple.
By a pubic hair.
Indeed. I'm glad it changed to a triple threat.
Absolutely.
I think this was way better for that than it being a singles match.
Didn't have time to suck.
Exactly. Like Finn Balor and Gunther, I know
didn't have time to suck.
Nice.
Like, Finn Balor and Gunther would have had a moment, given the same amount of time, where, like, Finn's, it's a bit drab on offense. It is.
Drab
and Gunther's
creep.
got to sell, be just a complete, like, singles baby face. There couldn't have been any sort of, like, blurred lines with the character alignments. He would have had to be the baby face. He would have had to make the comeback. Finn would have had to, it would have been all right. Finn would have had to cheat to take over, and, like, he did that a little bit here, but ultimately Damian Priest was, like, just a vital component in making this good, I think, realistically. Like, him taking some of the bumps he took for Gunther were super helpful for Gunther, but, like, still have that, like, wow factor, because Damian Priest's a big guy. So when he's doing some of the stuff he's doing, like, Jesus, like, Gunther's got that strength. He's got that ability.
Bit where he goes to powerbomb, and I think he caught his foot on the stairs as Priest's going up, and Gunther's like, up now, up you go.
They're losing the momentum, and then he kind of gets him anyway. You're like, sort of roaring on with Gunther to get it. And just... Again, we talked about this on the Raw preview, and it could be why it's kind of hard at the moment to see what's happening next for Gunther. This has been quite a nice little self-contained story for Gunther between losing to Cody and winning here. This was him categorically back to the top of the mountain. I liked how unambiguous this was. Like, yeah, Finn and Damian Priest, WWE might insist on giving us one more of that, like these matches.
Sure will.
Because they think we want it, or the wrestlers need it, or whatever.
You shouldn't have gassed up the Judgment Day for as long as you did, Paul. This is on you.
It was good for a time.
I blame you.
The payoff was WrestleMania 40's cash-in, and we all had the greatest night of our lives. It's fine. Like the
greatest night of my life, to be fair, mate.
Top 5, come on. And then, like, the Gunther sort of title reign now feels as high as it ever was, despite that character sort of going through that little dip. So I love this.
I never felt a title change was going to happen, but I did like the bit where Damian Priest, as he has done, to be fair, in the other 2 matches he had with Gunther, kept on being like, just piss off, Finn Balor. Let me just fight Gunther one-on-one here, basically.
Remind me of something there. Just sorry for waffling. I want to lavish praise on this specifically. I never felt a title change coming too, but I like that feeling about champions I like. And it's not really the done thing anymore. Like, you're supposed to create that tension of, is tonight the night they're going to lose it? We talk all the time about
Tony
how,
D'Angelo, yeah.
The first or the second challenges are sometimes the hardest to book for. They're just never going to win. There was a point there, but it's been lost now. But
Sorry.
But you got it before, that happened.
Yeah. No, again, didn't have time to suck. Didn't really have time to suck. And I will say again, WWE on PLE particularly just loves botches.
Yeah.
The blooper reel for the cinema. Another one from Damian Priest. It's a trademark.
He's had a year.
Trademark. And yet, he kind of ended up kicking Gunther in the face. It looked better than his plancher usually does. So
Yeah, he just flew. Well,
and if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for joining us. And you're thinking, look at that mug. Look at the receptacle he's holding.
hey!
And how great it is. WhatCulture.com/shop.
I really like
this
that.
This mug is so awesome.
It's lovely, but I
love the logo's great.
don't take it the wrong way, Sidge. I'd really like that mug, but with like some text underneath. So if they're new viewers, a bit like watching Saturday Night's Main Event, it explains what that
I can't help you, but
Wilborn, I can help you, mate.
What have you got there?
Look at that. That's got the text on What Culture Wrestling Podcast. In case you didn't realise you were watching the What Culture Wrestling Podcast by, say, for example, all of the branding as beautifully curated by our producer, Adam Nicholas.
Who's coming on his day off, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas.
I know I'm a legend. Don't worry about it.
It's written on the mug.
Are the mugs dishwasher safe?
Yes. I don't know.
I've put mine in the dishwasher, so I hope so.
did it emerge intact?
Yeah, it'd be right. If not, by 5. Oh, thank you to Retro J, a.k.a. Jules Gill. Who joined us. Hey! He says the mugs look great. Thank you very much, Jules.
Jules.
Wilborn makes a good point, though. There are 4 available, so get them. Try one, and you've still got 3.
Yeah, you've got a safety net.
And you know what? I think the mug is the easiest thing to wash by hand.
Agree.
All you have to do is just not let stuff sit in it for too long.
Yes.
Sometimes you can just run it under a hot tap. Maybe you don't even need any fairy liquid. So,
He's right.
I'm always right.
You feel good, doesn't it, when it's like, oh, it's all gone.
Yeah. Put it upside down on the old
Drainsky, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any fairy liquid in the shop, though, unfortunately. That's sold separately.
Oh, imagine that purple and gold. Tell you what, I got some...
Just very liquid.
I got some juice at the weekend, some squash. Right,
Squash, okay.
Wasn't carbonated.
No, but wait. It's
Yeah, it always is eventually.
I was like walking through...
Soda stream or something.
Not just like he gets his like Robinson squash and put some fizzy water in it.
I did exactly that at the weekend, and it was rhurbarb flavoured fizzy water because I was at the in-laws' house and they had a can of it in the fridge. Anyway, I'll be getting some regular flavoured fizzy water to fizzy it up because it does need it. The juice. I don't like Robinson's juice, that sort of thing, but it was
Vimto?
Fizzy Vimto, yeah.
Okay.
It was Robinson's juice, but it was for Wicked. It's
Jizzy
a
Vim, do more like.
co-promotion with Wicked, and it was green because the witch is green in Wicked, isn't she? Like,
Oh, I thought you were saying WKD there. I thought you meant like a cheeky Vimto. whatever they're
the
called.
Wizard of Oz film. It was green, so I was like, well, I caught my eye straight away. I was like, I'm like for like neon drinks. So I got a bottle of that, and they were like, shake it up for the magic, and it's got some like glitter in it, and you shake it. I thought this is going to blow the kids away. You shake it up, and it honestly looks like some sort of like hurricane happening inside the bottle. It's amazing. Go and get this Wicked juice if you can.
Where's it from?
It's like I saw it in Tesco's. There's a green one for the Wicked
one us
Witch, and then is it like but they're like mystery flavors. The green one's sort of like an apple and lime and lemon one. It's a bit odd, but then it works because it looks cool. And then I think there's it's
Has it got
like
any kiwi in it? Because that'll make my throat close.
no, I don't think so.
Okay, phew.
It's got some sort of
Are you
edible.
allergic, are you?
Yeah, really bad. Real bad.
Real
Some
bad.
sort of edible glitter in it. Are you all
Eric
right with
started eating apples, and I've just subsequently discovered I can't eat raw apple anymore for some reason.
What about the SmackDown apple?
Oh, yeah.
What's the SmackDown apple?
that? What's a SmackDown apple?
He said, what about a raw apple?
That is good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
That's good humour.
Jesus.
Well, the wife's in SmackDown fist holding an apple.
Yes.
Not being funny, right? Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, John. Their podcast is a sort of SmackDown Apple. Hey, it's a SmackDown Apple. How you doing? Hey, the SmackDown Apple.
desperately trying to
Why wouldn't I think that was a thing?
Very fair.
I was trying to cycle
Very
through the
fair.
Jay Frazier poster and think, where's the SmackDown Apple? It's, you know what the SmackDown Apple is? It's the one being driven by the little worm. Beep, beep. Like that. You know, the Apple
Yeah.
car that worm drives in kids' books.
Sid, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, man.
That's all right,
I
mate.
did this to you. That's my fault.
What was the next matchup?
Hang on, let me picture the busy world of Richard Scary.
Richard Scary, the
Richard
Friday
Scary, I think it's-
Friday Scaries. It's a worm driving an apple.
There he is, look. Wee-oo. Lowly Worm's apple car. Oh, there's a lift for the fat book. Eric can read it as well, I suppose, if he wants.
Jesus Christ.
Just Daryl's just written in all caps in the comments. Not more car stuff.
Yeah, no
I've
more.
seen enough
big-
of that on Wednesdays.
He got him. He got him good.
Then it was the tournament final for the inaugural Women's United States Championship. It was Michin versus Chelsea Green. And the good news is Chelsea Green won.
Yeah, I'm the high guy on this based on sentiment for Chelsea Green. I think that's the
And that finish.
Oh my God.
This was so goddamn over because Chelsea Green is so goddamn over.
That over.
I thought it was.
The finish was.
It's so earned as well. Chelsea Green.
Yes.
The finish was over. The match.
Finish
I
was
watched
cool,
it.
wasn't it? You like the
Oh, the finish was really good. Now I love the result. I'm a big Chelsea Green guy.
It's like it's such an earned run, this, and I think like because we were talking about like if Michin qualifies and gets the final, it's like wait a minute, Chelsea Green's going to win the belt because obviously that's always how that tournament was going to go. But again, like on the night, I was thinking, well, there's no way they're belting Michin here. But I was just rooting for Chelsea Green so much that I started to panic that they might. That's not a slight on Michin or anything, but this match wasn't going great. It was just
going to say. It's ironic they had the dumpster match because this was a stinker.
like it felt like home turf for Chelsea Green, didn't it?
It's got to be bad if you are this forthright about a Fed match.
I think the Eat Defeat's a terrible finisher as well. It never hits right.
No, and in this match in particular.
Hang on, Sige. You say that, but if you had to assess the efficiency of the Eat Defeat that Michin hit on Chelsea Green, how would you assess that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying in this match in particular. Not even fucking close.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, just really nicely Chelsea Green belted. I think the title.
Sorry, just to step on your dick a little bit. Obviously, you know, it's not even fucking close. Maybe she would have had a better chance in the match because obviously, you know, Chelsea Green at ringside's got Piper Niven to help her out, her pal. But the problem with Michin is...
She got no fucking mates.
Correct. Sorry.
No, it's all right. The was probably the best choice in hindsight. Honestly, like SmackDown.
What? Michin?
As well, me and him got it completely wrong.
Do you think Michin was going to win?
No, I thought Tiffany Stratton was going to make the final. You thought it was going to be Bailey, didn't you?
No, I think I said Chelsea Green. I think very certain.
No. And this is probably the better outcome ultimately. Like Chelsea Green is going to get a run here. Like not the best wrestler, but not a bad one, and over's more important. So
She's going to do the honky tonk man, isn't she?
possibly, but she might
better.
She might have been too popular. Like
And don't forget the Miss Elizabeth.
yeah, they judge this right, but against a typically more over babyface, this would have been a bad night for that babyface. I don't think people cared enough about Michin to mind cheering Chelsea Green, but it would have just actively divided the audience if it was a stronger baby. If it had been like a Bianca Belair or something, it would have been this awkward moment where it's like, I think a lot of people just want Chelsea Green to win. There was a lot of sentiment.
Yeah. Yes, Daryl, by the way, I did also for a split second thought, is Piper Niven about to drop her?
Yeah.
I think that was on purpose because that's clearly how the turn is going to happen when indeed it does happen.
Facilitating more of a babyface turn. Because Chelsea's a babyface in all but name now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, by the way, just on a quick SmackDown tangent, very much enjoying the idea of, you're going to have to drop the tag titles, Bianca, Naomi. Oh, I can step in if you need. It's convenient, isn't it?
We know where we're going. It's good stuff.
Really, really good stuff. But happy for Chelsea Green. And that, I want to reiterate,
Oh my God.
that finish.
She's loving this finish, dude.
I watched it about 5 times.
The attire was absolutely awesome as well. Just Chelsea Green's all over her and the Zack Ryder one leg and the whole deal. It was great.
The Rough Rider in the match as well.
Oh, yeah.
great
That was a
Good
nice touch.
stuff.
Right, let's get to the main event of Saturday night's main event. It's Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens.
No.
Sorry, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owen for the
I love Jesse.
for the Winged Eagle. Thoughts on the Winged Eagle, quickly.
Loved it.
He's allowed to say this. He's the biggest Fed fan I've ever met.
It's funny as well because I was very delicate about this and the grief I got on my.
He loved it at the time.
How dare you? Like that you don't understand what this means. And it was like, you've never listened to anything I've ever said, have you? I thought it was really nice. And there was a when he first opened the jacket, he knew the value of it. Yeah, maximise the moment, did Cody. I was like, oh, God, that's perfect. That is perfect. That is perfect.
Take it all off. That's what I was saying when he had the robe on.
And he's walking the ring, and I'm looking at him, looking at him. It's not right. It's not right.
It's so weird, you, mate.
It's not right, but it's okay. It's like, it's nice to see. And I really like what I think might be the story coming out of it, which is kind of what I liked about it to begin with. The timing of when they've given him this, because it's been spoken about for years, isn't it? He was the guy that brought the old IC belt back. So the idea is that people are saying this around WrestleMania 40. If he wins, they should give him that belt and all that. But I'd like to think it is more for whatever Kevin Owens is going to do to it than what it was here. It was lovely, but it belongs where it belongs. I really felt it. I was watching it going, it's not Cody's belt. It's Brett's and it's Shawn's and it's Hogan's and it's Austin's for one night, and that's fine. And it, like I had this sudden epiphany where I was like, you know what, the passage of time is okay. At least we're all in our 30s, fact. And I did. I thought it was lovely to look at, and I was like, I wouldn't campaign for it coming back or anything. It was. It didn't feel of this time as beautiful and meaningful as it was to me.
Counterpoint. They've never, maybe the odd minor tweak. They've never changed the Premier League trophy.
No.
Because it's perfect.
Made a gold one for Arsenal, which is, oh yeah.
Why? The current WWE title, until it was teased that they were going to bring the one-winged eagle. The winged eagle got Kenny Omega on the fucking brainy until they revealed, heavily hinted, that it was going to come back. I didn't miss it, but only because I'd been allowed to say a proper goodbye and all the rest of it. And because I didn't have the winged eagle in my head as something that was going to come back, even on a temporary basis, I was like, that's never coming back. So I'll make my... It feels, that new one, that current design feels way uglier now. Like way uglier. If they had a really beautiful belt that just replaced it, I'm not so nostalgia pilled where I was like, well, bring that back immediately. It is such a nicer looking title. And I get where you're coming from. Wrestling in particular goes through more, basically in football, the tops get a little bit more slim fit. There's no huge aesthetic changes to football.
Those kits follow like trends, don't they?
Yeah.
Kits come back around again and then like...
Yeah, but the thing with like... if there were... What are you talking about?
Dale Ward in the chat has said totally should go for a spinner Premier League trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't
round.
encourage this tit.
Spin the crown round.
Just...
Unscrew it and wear it.
I like the idea of it of just being the same the whole goddamn time. It's a nicer looking title.
I'll say probably, you know, the tag belts they brought, the SmackDown tag belts that are sort of modelled a little bit on the classic. That's probably where I'd be at with.
Okay.
Like
Evolution, not Revolution.
I tell you what I did see, just deranged bullshit from idiots. Like some people sharing my what must have been just a gut feeling of nice, but not of this time. They said stupid things because then they were like, preferred a big eagle actually. Shut your fucking mouth. That big ginormous disc that even Steve Austin hated when he was giving it, so he made his own one. Fuck off. Like
It's
it's
awful.
Like, I know Triple H and The Rock had it. It was 2000. That in itself is this very important era to a lot of fans, and I get that. You're wrong. Like when it comes to comparing those two, it's well, what is it, Sidge? If we're comparing those two,
Not even fucking close. I'll tell you what as well. While we're talking about belts, that oval IC 98 redesign pissed me off. Like in my gut of like, I can't stomach this. Please change it. Please change it. You're ruining The Rock. You're ruining this hot new attitude era. why did you change that belt?
Slimy, horrible thing, isn't it?
Why didn't they change the tags? 'Cause I mean, I love the tag, but I mean strategically, what just didn't give a toss anymore.
Probably.
They didn't give a damn.
The weird thing is as well, when you watch those, so it's the night after WrestleMania 14 when the new
I know,
belts-
I remember.
You know the deal. It's all like new and all that.
I get it from a strategic point of view why they changed
the straps. Like the strap was blue for the main, and I think purple.
It was like purple for the IC.
Yeah, and that got binned quickly as well, and it was almost like trying to gradually walk it back. And then when they binned it in 2002, when it was coming back in 03, I was like, nice one, WWE. Well done for rectifying the mistake. Wait a minute, bring the ugly one back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You took the wrong one out of storage.
I do. What on earth are you doing? Yeah, travesty in the Sidgwick household that day.
Yeah.
Real travesty. Me and Hamlet have had this chat. We'll get to the match in a minute. Like, in 98, when everyone else is like, God, this is so exciting. Austin's awesome, and he was. And, you know, the Stooges, they're really funny. And they've got something with this Austin McMahon thing and all the rest of it. I remember thinking at the time, going, I could have a little bit of 95 and 96. And yeah, just a little bit.
People at school, I'm like, where were you? Johnny come latelys.
Yeah.
Like, where were you?
Have some like decent matches in the some athletically exciting contests in the undercard and some nice looking titles, please.
Why don't you care that Sean's broke his back?
Yeah, I know.
I care that he's broke his back.
You'll bloody care in SummerSlam 98's main event.
But speaking of
Where
injuries,
did the workers go?
The build is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, stop saying! The fucking dead man! All right, why not? Why not? It's in case. I don't care. I don't even like either of them. I like the rattlesnake. Gonna kick their ass.
Gonna kick their ass good and proper.
but what did you make of Cody versus KO?
What a great day for you this. Not having to do the move for move recap.
I know. RKO on the table.
Oh my
Right,
god.
well.
Simultaneously, quite thoughtful and a pretty big disappointment. A really strange match that I still can't quite make my mind up on. This had...
I mean, good feeling means you're not going to make your mind up.
Yeah, like this had storyline elements I really appreciated. The whole show featuring a bunch of clean as a sheet wins in order to just emphasize this character development for Cody. Quite a bold character development for this ultimate John Cena-esque babyface champion, right? As the real John Cena is about to come back, by the way, to take this slight turn and take a look at that chair and think, I saw it, I'll go for it. Like, he's done enough to me to justify this, reminding you that Cody is this more nuanced figure, or at least now we're to take him as that going into a 2025 where he's got this raft of megastar opponents awaiting him. What is he going to do? And we know that in the past, Cody has dabbled with this to mixed results. There's a kind of interesting tension around Cody taking this choice.
I did also audibly say in my house, use it, Cody, turnabout's fair play.
And that's important because Kevin Owens would be furious with that. And lots of
Kevin didn't actually do it.
Yeah.
Which is quite cute.
Cody did. Like the RKO was very much the sort of the more, I said this decision in the office, like the more Monday Night Raw main event version of violence, wasn't it? It's like, yeah, you'll do it, but it's not really about the spot. It's about who you're doing it for, because Randy Orton's a component in all of this. So there's elements I really liked, and it, like, as a result, and it's Cody, so it's drama. It's always drama. He's really, really good at harnessing all of that. I thought large portions of this match just went missing. Like the ankle work just disappeared. It suffered
He's
the
clutching
advert.
at that ankle, Shivani.
It suffered the
And then he
advert
just
breaks.
stopped clutching at the ankle, Shivani.
Yeah, like the advert breaks killed it a little bit. It didn't feel as special as I expected to. I don't think I liked the main body of the match anywhere near as much as the Berlin one. And this should have been the easier one because you've got the obvious heel and baby face, and the dynamic's been so much hotter, like the runners.
Yeah.
I like the build to Bash at Berlin, but you always felt like this exists for Randy Orton as much as anything. This has been them. And the promos have been like world class, best in class, next level stuff. So yeah, it just didn't quite get there for me. And then you sort of have to speak separately on the post match because it wasn't on the show. We could theoretically not review that, and we wouldn't be not doing our job because it takes place on Twitter, and you get why, and it's linked to everything. But I think I'd have gone a bit more route one and had it actually take place within the body of the card. Personally, I get why they did what they did in a number of areas. It fell a bit short for me, this one.
I'm going to be generous here. Maybe it's one of those deals where, because I'm so into the wider story, that you do tend to bypass certain flaws, overlook certain things. Like, you're more protective over it almost. I enjoyed how they did the post-match. Going to go through it very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he's won the match, obviously. He celebrates as we go off the air, and then he grabs a mic and he's going to talk to the crowd in New York. And immediately Kevin Owens is like, I'm not having this. He's just woken up. He's just recovered from what's happened. He jumps Cody Rhodes. I did like the person who pointed out on X.
Triple H having to look hard as well. What a piece of trash.
I did like the bit where you see him wipe his hands, because it's like, really can't let him drop on this package pile driver. Really have to get this one nice and snug. Drops him on his neck. I'll get the exact terminology of the cervical issues that he's suffering from in a second.
But that was the deal.
Yeah, and he stretched it out. You deserve it, Chance, which we need to mention in all this. And then, Kevin Owens is walking back up the ramp, holding the belt up. Triple H comes out and shoves him. What are you bloody playing at, KO?
Cody, the character, kind of pushing the turnabout is fair play thing to its absolute extreme. That's one throwback to latter day Saturday night's main event that, that's kind of Hulk Hogan's a bit of a dick territory, a bit. It exists ultimately so Kevin Owens can say, I never used the chair, Cody used the chair. And you want to fuel that character.
Like the visual pin as well with the stunner when the ref was knocked out.
Oh, of course, yeah.
They gambled with Cody's character in that respect.
Yeah, they did. It was
Cena never did stuff like that. Really, not really.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a dick. Elements of that with Cody, which is maybe one bit of late 80s nostalgia you possibly don't want to tap into.
Cody's himself has had a rough run with that in the past.
Exactly. So that was a little bit of I'm not sure. But I liked how ultimately it was the wrong way. They should have just dropped a match, had that appear all on television. I'm going to use my dorky, pedantic detail hat, but ultimately I think it's the wrong one to wear. I like how tape machines stop rolling. This tension never does. This conflict never does. The turn happened after Bad Blood, was it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This next big sort of angle has happened after. I just like the idea that it doesn't matter if there's an invisible wall. It doesn't matter if they're being broadcast or not. These two guys hate each other. If it's your big tone setting, Saturday night main event is going to be a big deal. It should have been on the show. You can do your little dorky details and put them to one side. The business be a little bit broad. This probably should have been on. I personally like that it wasn't, but big picture, like the correct way to go about things, they should have done this turn. I love as well how Kevin Owens did your regular ass pile driving around Orton, and that kept him out for God knows how long. Just a wonderful way of having in your back pocket. We can make an even worse angle out of that with this sort of mythologized package pile driver of Kevin Owens, which you've never seen yet in WWE. Loads to love about this, but the match, it just felt like maybe it was different because I was watching it on demand, and when you watch these things on demand, you can see the timer and exactly how long's left is this visual cue. And as soon as Cody finished making his entrance, I'm thinking there's no title change happening here. Unless they're going for some kind of Mr. Brody Lee, Cody Rhodes thing, which I'm sure they're not. And just instantly, I was like, really prepared to believe.
I got that as well.
I was really prepared to believe before the broadcast they either could do a title change and change it at the Rumble. Or maybe even Mania, depending on what Dwayne does or doesn't do ahead of WrestleMania. As soon as I saw the time remaining, I was like, Christ, that dream's dead. And, I'm not saying that it has to end in 18, 20 minutes. You know when it's not going to happen. You just get a sense.
I got that as well.
Good sense. Yeah, it's not happening. Oh, and I'll tell you what, the ankle stuff kind of was only ever briefly touched upon. It just felt rushed. It just felt rushed. I should have dropped one of the matches.
Just to give you an update on the injury, Cody Rhodes suffered cervical swelling, was kept overnight at a local hospital, according to WWE, for observation. X-rays were negative for a fracture, but Rhodes has been officially diagnosed with axial compression of the cervical spine as well as a cervical strain with spasm. Worst time of the year for this to happen.
Indeed. This was to work around the fact that the SmackDown was taped and they're going to have to do something backstage with Owens and this belt without. The
visual pin thing was weird, Triple H. Sometimes he doesn't get baby faces and heels right at all. It's been a pattern throughout his in-ring and booking career. It looked like Kevin Owens made short work of Cody Rhodes. If they'd really sold the fact his ankle is dangling by a thread, goddammit, people felt like they wanted Kevin Owens to win that title and that he'd made swift work of Cody Rhodes to do it. It just, I'm absolutely the last person who wants every match to go long. I'm bored of long back and forths. If you're going to do a long back and forth, it should be your main event.
Yeah.
The bloody big WWE show.
I guess their thinking is they're arming Kevin Owens with as much as possible.
I think the one was enough.
Yeah.
The chair thing, I didn't use it.
Yeah.
And it's the good heel stuff of like you were going to if you had the chair.
Yeah, you
swung
you
it,
introduced
but
it,
he
yeah.
can say, I didn't use it. He did.
Yeah.
I only think you needed one.
Aye.
Anne Louise's big takeaway was she loved what the referees were wearing, by the way.
Oh, they look great. Yeah.
Powder blue.
Powder blue.
Why is it
both
powder?
those.
Why isn't it always powder blue?
You say it's how it's escalated from the pile driver, which in itself was like
Transgressive.
very well presented as transgressive, and then you get the package pile driver, and Sami Zayn is allowed to use the brainbuster at WrestleMania. I think you know where I'm going. If we get to Owens and Zayn, is he going to be
Steelizer.
Steelizer on Sami Zayn? Like, is Owens just we're building up to it, and it's Zayn that he gets the hit with because he always said, "I've got something for Sami Zayn down the line." It's like it's going to be worse than what anybody else is getting.
Jesus.
Like, so WrestleMania, that's where Triple H will be like, "Well, I kind of need you to. You've been kind of vital for this whole thing for the last 10 years. Go on then.
Go on then.
Have a treat.
Go on then.
Have a treat.
Just this
Try
one.
and kill your friend."
Thank you again to everyone joining us on YouTube. I'll run through
Hey.
some of their questions now. First one I see here from Asmuva says, Punk Mania preference, Cena, Austin, Roman. You don't have to be limited to those.
Oh
But
boy, they're all great. Now that Seth definitely feels off the table, and I like that, by the way. But I liked Punk Seth with a belt in it as a Mania main event. I would have bought that, but they're escalating it for the Netflix show. It would seem as we're recording this. All nostalgia. I'm just going to go Austin. Like, I think Austin is, we throw the word around, is a genius, and there was flashes of that genius in the Kevin Owens match. Punk would want it and love it. It could be yet again WWE's mind control of, well, it's not last, but it is Steve Austin. And they're like, fine, go on then, I'll take it. Yeah, so given those choices, Steve Austin, but I think even Punk would pick Roman over Austin, I think.
any way he does Gunther for the world title?
Possibly. You build it right, it's as big as a night one main event, definitely. And it's not just then a WrestleMania main event and this like background shadowy story. It's a very, very straightforward, I want to win the Rumble, point at the sign and win the belt.
Because I was going to say, Punk Roman is incredibly exciting,
Yeah.
but I don't know how the audience reacts to that. With it, Punk Gunther, you know where you should be cheering, what you want to happen. It's the main event.
Punk Roman has got loads of lore that I would trust both men to be able to fold into the story. All the stuff we already know about make Roman look strong. All the stuff what Roman said about like when they were having the needle mover arguments way back when, and
Doesn't have an explosive bone in his body.
yeah, like there's loads of stuff that they could mine between the two of them. And the political battle would be absolutely fascinating. Like you could get to the day of, and you probably couldn't pick a winner.
Yeah.
because neither could they, and they'd be able to put forth great arguments why it should be both.
Is that with a title, by the way, Punk Roman?
Old WWE head, you would say no because it doesn't need it. But then I'm kind of glad we're back in this era where the biggest stuff has the biggest stuff. You know, you could have argued that last year when everything was going mad with the
It's all
Rock.
big stuff.
Yeah, like when last year you could have argued when everything was going mad with The Rock. Well, he doesn't need to be in the title picture, he's The Rock, but you put him in the mix of it anyway because just everything feels bigger. So why not? Why not?
Total personal preference. I mean, they're obviously doing Punk Roman. They're getting the mid-carders out of the way on January the 6th. Basics. I know it's not in place. It's not 2004 5 Punk against 98 Austin with one of them straight edge, the other one likes beer. I know it's not that. I still nonetheless would love to see that first promo battle where, remember when Punk and Cody had theirs? It was all pretty respectful and then it just deteriorated. And then the tone just got nasty. I want to see Punk and Austin do that. I think
Got the blueprint for the sit down with Jim Ross.
yeah,
game.
I think it would be
That's-
absolutely magic. Then Roman Reigns can wrestle whoever. He's just going to fucking monologue for 20 minutes. So who gives a shit?
You'd love it if like he's halfway through, but like you weren't at the man for this year, and then Jacob Fatu just fires up and like speed.
Yeah.
Like that. Not tonight, Roman.
A lot of people in the chat, by the way, referencing the favour. Rorik the Red says, why don't he do exactly what he raged at Dwayne for and take the main event away from someone else using the favour? Or Dale saying Heyman can insert Punk into a contract without telling Roman as a favour. Roman always gets the main event. Well, I guess I'll wrestle him then.
The favour is like I love that they've created like what's effectively like a lingering cliffhanger on this road to WrestleMania, but they have to tread carefully with it because Paul Heyman is not a power broker for WWE. He's a power broker for Roman Reigns, or he
Sits
was
at the head of the table at the Island of Relevancy, though, doesn't he?
when Roman's got the belt in the Ula Fala
So
stage, but he's got
God.
to fight for the Ula Fala on the Netflix special. So until,
Damn
he gets,
overrated.
until he gets that back, he's not the tribal chief, is he? Like, yeah, Paul Heyman can only do so much from Paul Heyman's current position. So I'm sort of interested as to how that plays out as well. Like, if I've seen people saying today, like Punk's going to cash in his favour and he's going to get the match against Seth at Netflix. Why does he need Paul Heyman to book Seth?
Yeah,
Rollins?
no.
Like, if that's how we get to that on Raw, it's like, well, it feels like a waste of a favour.
Yeah.
I think Seth would have just fought you, mate. Like,
Karthik says, with all the highs he's had, cementing him as a generational top guy, arguably the two feuds of the year, shouldn't Cody win Flair Thez? Feel he's also the best promos and angles guy in wrestling.
Flair Thez is just outright best wrestler, not most outstanding. Yeah, he's Flair Thez. Of course he's Flair Thez.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ospreay is the outstanding, obviously. I feel like it's cut and dry. I think those awards, the definitions are pretty self-explanatory. So, yes, I agree.
Hi to Mark Lee Willis.
Hello.
Who's joining us, saying he sent us lovely figures, didn't he, recently? He's reminding us that there is £20 behind Good Brews for our editors. So they're not here, so we'll use it. Thanks Mark. And hi to
Part-timers.
No editors here. Not one.
Hi to Mr. Phoenix, who mentioned the thing we mentioned on WrestleCulture on Friday. His friend running a fundraiser for the Canadian Mental Health Organisation. It's his pin post on Twitter. And he says, cheers, guys, if anyone would like to donate. Cheers from the forklift. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Phoenix. Stephen Ellison says, with Owens walking off with the Winged Eagle belt after the attack on Cody, do you think they should work it as an angle with Owens saying he is the champion and with the belt that Cody has always wanted?
The rightful champion deal.
Aye.
It's good.
It's nice. It's a nice bit. It tees up that one more rematch because, Cody's the most believable character to care the most about that belt and the safety of that belt and the prestige of it and all that. Equally, because it's just a nice callback, he could smash it to bits with a hammer, and that's just as cruel to Cody Rhodes, But yeah, I do sense a real world champion thing coming out of this, and it's a perfect belt to use as well.
Yeah.
He's desecrating it by holding it.
Yeah.
Spray an X over it?
Why not? It was class last time.
No, it wasn't. It didn't. He was shooting his own angles, which
Sure was. It was really.
Was he going into business for himself?
He sure was.
Sounds like the behaviour of an empty-headed, dumb fucking fuck.
So awesome and tense, and Tony Schiavone looked so stressed about it. And he kind of stole Wembley with a title defence. So.
He didn't steal
Was it for that
though.
belt? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was.
3.5
Didn't matter. The belt didn't matter. Oh, the real world title line. Bunker, I don't give a fuck. He's at the Pepsi Plunge. Let's go. Joe might win it. Didn't Joe have a belt as well? They all got a belt.
Some kind of ROH.
Bring him on a TV title.
Kind
or
of lanky
something.
guy. ROH guy.
Joe's belt is not on the line here tonight.
Thank you to Mimi Burris, who's joined us, suggesting that the favour might be the number 30 spot in the Rumble.
Yeah.
They've explained away that Paul Heyman can, get what he wants
Yeah.
through shadowy
Few
means.
strings. They have to be careful with that sort of stuff because
He knows where the bodies are buried.
your pitch for The Rock having it is because he's the.
Oh my
What
god.
if he says, I need that favour, Paul? And Paul's like, I can get you number 29. He's like, number 29? He's like, even I can't get number 30 in this year's Rumble.
That's not bad. And they don't say outright why until the night when they're up.
My cock explodes, yeah.
You could tie that in with your idea about the 30 ball as well.
Yeah, exactly. You just,
Oh my
I just want
god.
balls back in wrestling. It's not too much to ask.
I like a tumbler.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah.
I like a little golden tumbler.
Thank you to Rorik the Red. No question. We mentioned him earlier. Ain't nothing but a donation as a thank you for the countless hours of entertainment you'll deliver constantly. Cheers, boys. Cheers, Rorik.
Thank
Hey,
you.
and we'll give you a Christmas present on Christmas Day. If you subscribe to the podcast, obviously. Beef
There are
Footballers
terms to this gift.
says Gunther versus Cena or Cody versus Cena for his 17th.
I love this Cena run because at the moment it's
I know, he
just in my
sucks in the ring.
imagination and he's terrible and I can forget about that because every pitch is interesting to me. But he can't be as terrible as he's been. To go back to the point about how the matches don't matter as much as they would if this was AEW or New Japan or places where lots of better matches are expected. Cena is going to do a year-long run unless he gets injured, which, could happen. But, he's going to do a year-long run, and elements of Cena's game were always fairly safe and soft and gentle and calling out
Crap.
And that's fine because that'll get you through your year. But if it's like, if it's like Austin Theory bad on the first night back, that does do damage to the point of this, which is for him to be a draw for 12 months. They've got to preserve that. I know John Cena will, on paper at least, get you through your first 4 or 5 big shows that he does, like Elimination Chamber as his last one, the Rumble as his last one. You can do that for a bit, and they'll hide him, no doubt, as well. But there will come a point where the singles matches can't be rubbish. So if he comes back in the Rumble, and I love Big Dave, but when Batista had that 2014 Rumble return, like, oh, mate, you've not got it anymore. If Cena has a Rumble like that...
Big Dave got it back in 2 months, baby.
He did. Cena's returns will already feel diminished unless... So, like, you kind of want one of these big matches to come off because Cody's a good one, and I think Punk, as grim and sloppy as it will look at points, I think will just be magic. They had incredible chemistry even when it looked like shit. Like, sometimes it was better for how sloppy it looked because they just were in this sort of sludgy fight. Like, I think they were each other's career opponents, genuinely. So I'd love that again. Cody, you sort of have to do. I think you're throwing it away if you don't.
I think later in the year you do Cody, because the whole "you deserve it" he's getting stretched out with a broken neck potentially suggests that maybe they've already got an eye on that for 2025.
I think John Cena, even more than CM Punk, when CM Punk came back and there was like, well, is he going to behave himself, or like he got injured, and then it's like, well, is that him now? Does he just get injured? I was like, whatever I get from this run is a bonus because it could just go south somehow. With Cena, this reminds me of the sort of era of, my God, AEW have got every single awesome match. And it was Tony Khan at his stingiest, like 2021 probably, and didn't do them. That's sort of how I'm feeling about Cena at the moment. I do want to see these, like a Gunther face-off and a Cody thing. And the longer the year goes on, you better be getting something great each time. Like, Cena in Elimination Chamber is cool for like face-offs with 5 guys, but I want some pretty big singles matches. Yeah. And the longer they don't book them, the more I'll start being like, are we going to get it or not? Because you've got a year with this guy and then that's it. You know?
Oh, yeah. Oopie.
Oh my God.
He stinks?
Yeah, you'll just never.
Never been seen a guy, now he's actively even worse than ever.
Where are you with John Cena?
I'm kind of ironically in between. Yeah, I really wanted to be. I'd never been there for like a John Cena thing at WrestleMania when he faced Austin Theory in about 2 minutes, and I was like, okay, I've done this now. I don't mind whatever happens. But yeah, I think it can't fail, and also it can really spectacularly fail.
Yeah,
he just seems so inconsequential. Like, was anyone going when he had that match with Solo Sikoa? He was just there.
Yeah.
He doesn't really feel like a star in WWE anymore. Like, that's stupid.
It's one of the few matches.
He doesn't feel like Roman Cody level. He just feels like he's there.
I said this at the time, but like
fucking Bob Backlund in 1993.
Like John Cena was, for the kids and the women, and that was never a problem. But like a certain corner of the fan base certainly made it a problem. That rings true a little bit with me anecdotally, because it is still like one of the only matches my youngest Josh ever asks me about. Like, he sat down and watched that Solo Sikoa match, and he asked me about, like, oh, who's the big guy like hitting people with his spike thumb? Like, because he put John Cena down, didn't he? And like, he remembers, and it's like, there must be some magnetic effect that John Cena's style has got on kids because he's so broad.
Yeah, because he's so dumb.
You might get a bit of that.
Because he's so dumb.
These dream matches, like, some of them are main events.
I'm not dreaming of them.
Is John Cena not a more valuable upper mid-carder than he is a main eventer? I don't know. I'm asking that because I don't know. I'm going to be.
You should absolutely have to pretend that he's a bigger deal and has still got it more than he has.
Yeah.
He should not have a world title match at WrestleMania, in my opinion.
Should he win the belt in this last year?
I think judge it on how he does in his first few months.
I agree. Yeah.
Don't think you say automatically.
Put him on trial.
Make him a merit thing, yeah.
Speaking of AEW, actually, Mimi Burris earlier on asked, unpopular opinion, Mox is ruining AEW. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's increasingly not an unpopular opinion.
You found the podcast for that take.
I've gone deeper on the Collision review, which you can obviously listen to wherever you get your podcasts. It's a bad kind of downer vibe. I was ready to embrace the downer vibe after the first plastic bag angle.
What have you done to All In, you bastard?
Yeah, what have you done to All In? I was really enjoying that. And now it's just this cartoonish, flanderized parody of the Blackpool Combat Club, which I hardly liked beforehand. I'd be happy if he was just being a big heel dickhead who's just killing these baby faces in believable, intense, nasty, bloody angles. But it's the worst kind of downer because I can't take him seriously. You're having a nightmare with your portrayal of your character and your booking if you kind of take the man who takes himself the most seriously. It's not even good, grimy, nasty heel work. It's just panto, and it doesn't suit him at all. And you have to, I completely agree with this take because he's so at the epicenter of everything that if you don't like what Jon Moxley's doing, you're kind of screwed for however long because this is going to dominate AEW's top-level programming for ages.
I think this goes beyond kayfabe as well. Like, heavy as a head that wears the crown, ultimately, to lose faith in Jon Moxley as a person and what he believes is the right thing to do is to lose faith in AEW. Because he was the guy they would go to after, like, the Punk stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime the belt was in abeyance or whatever, it was like, you know what, Moxley's a safe pair of hands.
Abeyance.
Like that. Bit of old Fed.
Bit of 2013 Fed.
Like the... just any period of uncertainty, Jon Moxley was your stability guy, including the pandemic, which we wax lyrical about all the time with good reason. And everybody that watches AEW is completely aware of the reality behind the fiction. You embrace the fiction when it's good, but you're also watching and kind of thinking about that's most wrestling now, isn't it? Like people our age, we're all in our 30s. In fact,
We're all in our 30s.
That feels like a bigger problem to me. Is that if you watch it and you're not really interested in the fiction playing out in front of you, so instead you're going, do you think this is good? Because if you think this is good, you've lost your stability. You've lost your Midas
He's meant
touch.
to be the barometer of,
Yeah.
I'm here to be the one who tells you what's good and what sucks, and I'm back to make it good again. And it's like, you've made it worse.
You extrapolate that to the company-wide afterwards, and it's bad for AEW in that regard.
Check out the Collision reviewers talking about them kidnapping FTR at the end of Collision.
I can't stop thinking about just Orange Cassidy in that chair, and he's like unscrewing the lid of the bleach that week. It's like that has become this like Death Riders. You know, you've got your instant visual for a stabler, an actor, a wrestler. That's my Death Riders one now. Is Orange Cassidy in this chair? Like, he looks such a wanker and not like a good heel.
Well, we said if his strategy is not necessarily saving AEW by motivating people, but by killing off members of their roster,
Because it's too stacked.
He'll thin out the numbers, won't it?
That's good. Yeah.
Then he came up with that theory.
Solving the roster problems.
It's like that thing on, have I been living with Joey too long, or did that make sense? Have I been podcasting with Wilborn too long, or did he just come up with a good idea there? It sounds ridiculous.
Tell you who's been with us for a long time as well, Matt Rains.
Hey.
He says, happy Monday, brothers. Won't often hear me say this, but thank you, Everton and Man United. Hope you guys have a great day. Raw preview was great. Only issue was talking about Raw too much. Cheers. Cheers,
Yeah,
Matt.
as a Liverpool
Thank
fan.
you.
A Liverpool fan, those are like the ultimate rivals, aren't they? Oh, is that the case in America? Liverpool have got a big following in America. I wonder if they feel like what
Evidently.
died and Liverpool fans were against Man United and Everton. It's all about winning the league, I suppose, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Anyone-
Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
Who wants it? Who wants this Premier League? Who wants these Champions League spots? I get pissed off with our form, but then you think, I think virtually every single follower of every single team's a little bit pissed off this season. Like Arteta, like Pep, Eddie Howe, like it's Chelsea and Liverpool you'd be happy with. Spurs fans want Ange out.
What's the bottom end looking like?
Forest, maybe. Quite happy.
Aye, but that's total
they're just
aberration.
yeah.
Villa, Emery, like there's a lot of people who just don't like the manager that much anymore.
Who's in a relegation?
Wolves, Southampton. Basically, everyone who sacked their manager recently. I think
Wolves, Southampton,
Ipswich were down there, but they got that win against Wolves, hence the sacking.
Ipswich, Everton.
So it's tight enough that a win gets you out of trouble for a week.
I
Yeah.
think the bottom two are completely shagged, to be honest with you, mate.
Southampton have played 16 games and have 5 points.
Yeah.
Above that old Sunderland record.
Sunderland numbers are Derby, thank you very much.
What are the Ash?
Yeah.
Southampton, then Wolves with 9
Have you been
points.
to
No. You.
What? Newcastle.
I've been to Milan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went to watch a game at the San Siro.
Sheffield.
No. It was Genoa or someone random. Southampton, Wolves, Ipswich with 12 points, and then just outside the relegation zone, Leicester with 14, Everton 15, Palace with 16.
Everton will be fine. It's between those five.
I'd like Palace to drop out of that lot. Horrible place to get to from anywhere, but if you live in the Crystal Palace area, Selhurst Park, it's a nightmare.
I saw a great question earlier. Where is it from? Kai. Kai asked it to anyone in the chat, but I thought I'd ask it to you. Favorite designs of belts?
The best set, a complete set of wrestling titles promoted by a federation That Reggie Parks. I don't know if he did the tags.
Got the name check on Saturday Night.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a nice touch. That Winged Eagle, that Intercontinental, and those WWF tag teams were sensational. I'm a big fan of the AEW World Tag Team titles.
Yeah.
I think they're incredible. They're my favorite modern retro title design is the AEW World Tag. Just basically looks like a big Intercontinental title. And my favorite retro designs are those the trifecta of 1988 to like 1998.
Yeah. I also love the original unfinished TNT title. I thought it was a perfect fit for the perfect wrestler in the perfect time. You talk about John Moxley being the kind of like guy to steer us through the pandemic. Cody doing it at the highest level he could go to because he'd lowered the ceiling on himself, which was by design, flawed ultimately, but by design.
They shouldn't have done it.
And that belt not being finished, but him making it, like, it was very literally a man making the title because it was a piece of tin, an unfinished piece of tin with half the stuff missing. It was like, Cody's the champion. The belt is just a sort of representation of him being a champion. And I love that. And then like when they could get it finished, then you smash it to pieces over his head. And so it's like you kind of went out with it as well with Brody Lee. So like
I love the WCW TV title. No, the WCW United States title.
Yeah, the little flag at the top. Yeah,
the last one they used, that big old bastard.
Never forget you introducing me to the Open the Dream Gate Championship.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous, but it's very, very nice.
But probably current favourite title, I don't know whoever's holding the North American, probably, for me. Which looks the best.
I know you're doing a gimmick, but that NXT North American title is quite nice.
the
I was more of a Heritage Cup guy for a bit, but then, don't know.
The women's one with the white strap, and genuinely, the NXT title that was birthed in the like paint splash era. The little
Iridescent.
Yeah.
The iridescent.
It's lush. Like
Iridescent.
Triple H. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
Let's strip the colour away.
Paul Abbott says, I like the New Japan TV title that Zach had. A big old block of loveliness akin to Hamlet's head.
Look like...
Thank you very much.
Good stuff.
The IWGP as well. Like, just insane they replaced that with that ugly
thing. That's when you're like total head loss. I'm not being funny. Like, when you make a decision like that as a company, you think, right, I can't trust the booking. And I know that seems ridiculous, but there's just that sort of a head loss mentality throughout the entire organization.
There was a point, so like, I got in New Japan like 2016, way more into it, starting working here in 2017, and we were just, conversation over the desks helps because then you haven't got television, but you're always built up for the next show and the next show and the next show. And that Okada reign was incredible. We probably don't talk enough about it, realistically, for how amazing that was.
Best title reign of all time.
Because Okada matches went long, there would always be that point where they would just allow themselves a lingering like 30, 40 second shot of the belt to like remind you of what this is all for.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, this is brilliant. Stay longer on that belt if you want. Sell it. It's a double down. Treat it like have a bit longer on the belt if you want. I always remember that from that reign. Every match there'd be a window, just be like, shoot the belt for a second.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Well, let us know your favourite belts and let us know your thoughts on Saturday night's main event in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow all of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow our brilliant producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from. For daily wrestling podcasts, Raw Preview is available right now, as well as our Collision review. But for now, this has been the Saturday night's main event review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.